Okay, first graders, we're going to start to talk about a new artist. Her name is Carol Wyatt. Carol Wyatt is the artist who designs the pictures for a very famous television show called Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Here's an example of the characters that she draws for the show and the background scenes that she draws for the show. So she is what we call an animation artist. That means she designs kind of like cartoons for TV shows. We can also say that her style of art is kind of like a fantasy style of art. So the characters and the scenes that she draws for the show are not necessarily things that we see in everyday life. They're a little bit more imaginative from our imagination or from fantasy. So what she does really well that we're going to get some inspiration from is something called the rules of space. So when she draws these beautiful background pictures for the show, she's really great at showing a very large area of space. That means if I look into the distance here, I can see many layers of different space happening in this picture. So we're going to get some inspiration from how she shows space. So there's one big rule of space that we're going to try and follow for this project, and that is that shapes are layered or overlapped from dark to light. So look at this photograph of an actual area of space, these kind of like mountains and these trees. So when the shapes are overlapped, that means starting in the front here, we can see some very dark trees. So this is the darkest color in the picture. Now when the next layer happens, this hill here, it gets a little bit lighter, starting to look like a kind of medium blue. Then as we jump back between all these layers in the background, the hills get a little bit lighter, and then a little bit lighter, and then a little bit lighter. So that rule of space is that when those layers are overlapped, when they go back, they get lighter. So this is true of a lot of photographs that we may see that show space, or even paintings. So if we're really trying to show space in a real way, we will layer our shapes and we will go from dark to light. So that shows a really realistic version of space. We can see this again in Carol Wyatt's art. Look at how her trees start very dark here and these houses are very dark. But then as you jump into the background, the hills and the houses get a little bit lighter. And then look at these hills in the very back. They're very light, almost as light as the sky. So she's very good at showing this area of space in a real way. And again, here's another one of her works of art. You can see how the layers jump back, starting dark, and they get lighter and lighter and lighter. So even though she's a fantasy artist, she does show space in a real way. So we're going to try and get some ideas from her and try and show space in a real way and try and show kind of like a fantasy picture. So I'm going to show you in my next video how I created this project.